Committee of MPs and former judges to examine firing of 2 National Microbiology Lab scientists. This is the Great White North Report. So way back in 2018, 2 Winnipeg scientists at a level 4 microbiology lab in Winnipeg were fired from the lab. They were both Chinese scientists, and there's been a lot of mystery shrouding why they were let go. Now these two, Dr. Jinghua Kui and her husband, Keding Cheng, both worked at the Wuhan Microbiology Lab in China, the same one that produced the CCP virus, or COVID-19, whatever you want to call it. And their dismissal was shrouded in mystery. Now, I've been talking about this for a long time. 2 years ago, I did a segment on this as they were under an RCMP investigation. I think I've done like 3 or 4 videos on just this topic. So the fact that it keeps coming back means that there's something going on. And as a Canadian, I want to know what happened. So members from all official parties in the House of Commons and 3 former judges will sit on a new ad hoc committee to look into the controversial firing of 2 scientists from Canada's top virology lab in Winnipeg. Government House Leader Mark Holland announced the makeup of the committee Wednesday. 4 MPs will have access to briefings and other documents on the matter. Iker Khalid from the Liberals, John Williamson from the Conservatives, Renee Villemere from the Bloc Québécois, and Heather McPherson from the NDP. All 4 have substitutes from their respective parties. 3 former senior judges will join them to act as arbitrators and will have a final say on what information can be made public. So we got Judges Ian Binney, Eleanor Dawson, and Marshall Rothstein. Binney and Rothstein are former Supreme Court of Canada judges. So we'll see what comes up of this from this. It'll be interesting if they let anything out. So the idea is that any redacted information that the committee believes ought to be made public, the panel of arbiters will determine how that information can be disclosed more widely without compromising national security, national defense, and international relations, or any other public or private interest. A government news release said, well, that's going to suck because this will definitely compromise international relations with mainland China. They don't want us to know what happened. These 2 scientists were from the Wuhan lab. They helped set up that Wuhan lab. They trained at the Winnipeg Microbiology Lab in preparation for the Wuhan lab. They brought their students over from Wuhan to train and see how a microbiology lab works. And obviously that didn't work because the safety protocols were breached and some idiot got out with the CCP virus. So will they disclose anything? I'm not hopeful, not when I read that. National security, national defense, or international relations, that's going to really piss off the Chinese if anything comes out. And Trudeau does not want to piss them off for some reason. So they both worked at the National Microbiology Laboratory, and they were escorted out of the lab in July 2019. Sorry, I've been covering this since 2019. I thought it was 2018. It's been so long. And Public Health Canada announced their dismissal in January 2021. The RCMP was investigating the pair at the time, but neither they nor the Public Health Canada had provided a reason for their dismissal or the investigation. In fact, I don't even think they're in the country anymore. No one knows where they are, these 2 scientists. And this raises obvious concerns about Chinese espionage. It also caused political controversy with opposition parties demanding the government release more information about why they were let go, especially when the Chinese Communist Party had Kovrig and Spavor. We could have used them as leverage. We could have kept Kui and Cheng and used them as leverage for Kovrig and Spavor. Instead, Trudeau, being the naive person that he is, believed in soft power, let these 2 scientists go, and makes him look like a complete idiot. Remember, this is our only level 4 facility in Canada, the one in Winnipeg, and it's equipped to work with the most serious and deadly human and animal diseases. Now, Dr. Jinghua Kui, she is very respected in her field, and she's done a lot of work with Ebola. But at the same time, she was definitely working both ends of the spectrum here. She was helping with infectious diseases and probably helping the Chinese Communist Party perfect their methodology. Now, the Conservatives earlier boycotted the all-party National Security Committee over the government's refusal to hand over documents related to the scientist's dismissal. Rightly so. If you're not going to hand over everything, what's the point? And a new committee was difficult It's been a long process to get all the parties together, to get the members populated, to get the panel of arbiters. But we now have 3 esteemed former judges that are agreeing to take on the role of arbiter. Again, politics is playing too much of a role into what should be done. In fact, we should be letting know what's going on. Why were they dismissed? What were they doing? This comes after more than a year after the Liberals said they would move ahead with such a committee to review the documents. Conservatives wanted to turn it over to a regular committee of MPs. Under a House of Commons order passed by opposition parties in 2021 over the objections of the government, the documents would have been vetted by the parliamentary law clerk for potential national security issues. But committee members would have retained the right to release whatever material they chose. So again, the Liberals are trying to hide what happened. Why were they escorted out of a lab? Why were they under RCMP investigation? And what happened to them? Where do they go? Like, they do have homes in Canada, but pretty sure they're back in China right now, these two, where we can't get at them. So 2019, Cobber and Spower didn't get home to what, 2021? Roughly? So let's hope this committee brings things to light and lets the Canadian public know what happened. And again, this is another scandal that might this is something that might bite the Liberals in the ass, because they're the ones who are hiding it. The Trudeau government is hiding the reasons. They know why. They're just not releasing it. They're afraid that China will strike back at us. Big deal. We can do more to hurt them than they can to us. But anyway, Canadians out there, let me know what you guys think of this whole situation. Do you want to know what happened to these 2 scientists and how they're connected, and if there's any connection to the CCP virus that came out of Wuhan? Leave comments in the comment section. Until next time, this has been the Great White North Report.